Avacal. My name is Nereugei from the Kingdom of Volunteer, and I would like to welcome you into my air.
So,
Come on in, please. So as custom dictates, guests come straight in and have a seat on the left.
okay.
I'll let you have a seat. Scald's your other tour guide at this point. And, welcome. My gear is a combination of a couple of the different tribal styles. There's the central majority Halk Mongol, and they've got this style of sun wheel roof ring. And I've also got some elements that are Kazakh, which is the westernmost province of Mongolia, currently Olgi. They have a Kazakh majority, and so these banners here are supposed to help with holding the roof ring down along the tension wires around the outside in order to keep the roof from flying off in high wind. I first started putting this gear together about 8 years ago. I had bought it as a complete thing with canvas and walls and poles and ring and door. And since then I've kind of rebuilt every little piece of it as I've learned more and more about the construction and about the culture. I've had a couple of trips to Mongolia, a couple of months at a time in the summer, and so it was during those times that I had a great tour of all these different styles of gear construction. I'm using the word gear because the Mongolian word for this particular structure is ger.
Okay.
A lot of people call them yurts, and that's a Central Asian name for this style of dwelling. It does refer to the same thing. I'm just referring it to as a ger.
That was going to be one of the questions: is how do you define a ger versus a yurt, and regionality is really the difference.
That's the big one. The Mongolian word for family is also ger.
Okay.
So the home, the family, the place where all that happens, right?
Cool.
Yeah. So if you wanted to take some a quick close up with the wall construction, when I first had this. When I first bought this gear, it was one of the big baby gates that would stretch out along the entire thing, and it was one big long roll. And in the last few years, after the first time I came back from Mongolia, I learned that these were done with little rawhide ties.
Okay.
So they're split end, and then you flip them through on both sides, and that's what holds it tight after it dries up and tightens up.
Okay.
And so this particular gear is a 4-wall gear now, meaning there are 4 sections. If you come over here, you can see how 2 of the wall sections are lashed together from top to bottom. And the advantage of this versus the single long baby gate is that once I lash these at the 90-degree angle that they're supposed to be at, it sets the diameter for the gear. And I don't have to take any of that guesswork. I don't have to worry about the height. I just lash the sides together. I lash it to the door. I put it in the cable, and everything mostly fits.
Okay. And how long does it take to set this thing up?
I try to do it once a year by myself, just to make sure that I can still do it by myself. I figure if I can't do it by myself, then it's time to sell. And if I'm doing it by myself, it's about an hour and a half before I'm ready to kind of load it with furniture and put up the wall hangings and get comfortable.
Okay.
With the team, 40 minutes.
Okay.
Less if they know what they're doing. They have gear setup competitions in Mongolia and different parts of Central Asia.
Okay.
I think 20 minutes is pretty typical for one of those teams. So. Okay.
And how is it for rain and wind and all that?
Pretty unbeatable.
Absolutely fabulous.
The most number of people I fit in here while also having it function as a kitchen at the same time was 18. And we're keeping people dry because it was a torrential downpour outside. We had the fire on, we had laundry hanging from the rafters, and everybody was inside warm, comfortable, and singing and drinking. So
now I notice you have all these sayings on the what is that indicative of?
That's a personal touch of mine. I wanted to put a bunch of Mongolian proverbs on the roof rafters so that I could see them. They could remind me of the values that the Mongol people have.
Okay.
And so one of the things that I can do is write in the traditional Mongolian, but I can't read it.
So is that the same? Like it says, break his back, batter his spirits. Is that what that also says?
That's what that also says on the front.
Okay, so it is the same thing?
Yeah. And it's just a whole bunch of like really neat insights into Mongolian culture.
Okay.
And of course, every time I set the gear up, different proverbs end up over the bed. So I wake up in the morning and it's got a new message for me every time I go camping. So
Nice. And so this would have been the sort of thing that the Golden Horde or Genghis Khan would have been in, or
Genghis, and during the Empire times, obviously would have been on these. He might have had some on carts. He might not have. But this is pretty typical.
so this was the sort of thing when the Horde, I guess, was on the move. This sort of thing would be taken down in the morning and moved daily, or would you just set this up as semi-permanent camp?
The way their campaigns worked was that they would tend to have their supply train well away, right? 3 or 4 days ride probably.
Yeah.
They would go and they would scout and they would figure out which direction they wanted to go. And then they would pick up and move and settle.
Okay.
Right? And so it wasn't a daily thing. It was maybe we'll stay for a week, depending on how the horses are feeling, depending on what the weather's like. Maybe we'll stay 2 weeks. Maybe we'll find a patch of grass for a little while, fatten them up in the spring, and then go on full campaign.
Okay.
So it really depended on what the weather and the strategy was like.
All right, cool. Well, this is a most excellent place to stay. Thanks for letting us in and coming to Avacal Tenure. Do you have any thoughts on Avacal Tenure now that you've been here a little while?
It's been fabulous coming over the mountains. We've heard of the generosity and kindness of the Avacalian peoples, but it didn't prepare me for how wonderful everybody is. The Quad War site is beautiful, and it's been such a joy to be able to travel to Avacal and just relax.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.